faccio tutte le patate rotto. No!
Today we'll be making the cheerful and energetic pink mushroomy cutie, Toadette, using just polymer clay and a few tools and supplies. Instead of doing a standard pose like I usually make my figures, this time I'll be switching it up to make her in a special pose.
Okay!
Like in this render. We'll start by making the body. I'll take a little piece of aluminum foil and bunch it up. This will be the foil base we'll sculpt onto. I'll attach it to a toothpick with the teeniest bit of glue so it won't move around while I work on it. Toadette's body is mainly a dress shape that flares out at the bottom. So I'll cover this with bright pink clay, keeping it thin at the top and wide and flat around the bottom, similar to a cone shape. Then we can add on her vest using a thin piece of red clay. I'll cut off the excess, then create a yellow strip to line across the edges of her vest. With that done, I can carve off a piece for her bottom using a white ball of clay. I'll poke a hole into it and then slide it up the toothpick onto her body. Then attach her shoes, making one go back pointed downward, just like in the render. Sculpting hands are super tricky, especially at this size. What I did is roll a piece of clay about the size of her arm, rolling a thinner part at the wrist and leaving just enough at the top for a hand. It kinda looks like a spatula. I'll place it down and carefully cut out the fingers. There's a lot of going back and forth, delicately smoothing and separating each finger. Using a ball tool helps round the palm out so the hand is facing the right way. And after making it once again, we have our little munchkin hands. I'll be sticking this arm up in the air, and the other cutely against where her face will go later. That completes the sculpting for Toadette's body, so we can move on to her mushroomy head. Taking another piece of foil, we'll need to make a mushroom cap type of shape. I like to make the foil base size about half as big as I want the actual piece to be. It gives me more control because I can add or remove clay depending on how large I need her head to be. Again, covering it entirely with pink clay. I'm going back and forth, smoothing and shaping and adding more clay as needed until I'm happy with the size and shape. With a thin sheet of white clay laid out and a circular cookie cutter, I can cut out the polka dots and attach the 5 of them to her head. Now that those are looking good, I can add her signature pigtails. Using my needle tool, I'll poke in 2 spots in the back of her mushroom cap, where they'll be coming out of. I'm making sure to poke deep enough that it pierces the foil base inside. For this step, I'm taking out some wire and cutting off 2 pieces. I'll be adding a tiny dot of glue to attach these inside those holes. Then I'll bend them into position and start making the pink balls. Now I can slide these onto the wire like beads. I'll bend the end of the wire and cut off the excess, leaving just enough for the last piece to hook onto. And just like the cap, I'll add more polka dots onto the end of the pigtails. Here's what we have so far. All that's left is to make Toadette's adorable winking face. I'll roll out a thick pill shape to cut out her head, poking a hole so I can slide it onto the toothpick. Then attach her eyes and carve out her open mouth smile. I inserted a dark red piece for the inside of her mouth and a little red piece for her tongue. With that done, the head is complete. I'll snip off the toothpick handle and temporarily place her head onto her body just to make sure it fits nicely and the arms are where they need to be. Since her head is too heavy to stay on her body, I'll still need to bake it separately, so I put it back on another toothpick. Then I can bake everything. There's one last detail, the white stripe that goes around the bottom of her pink dress. Since it's super thin, I decided I'm a bit more comfortable with just painting it on. With that white stripe painted on, the only thing left to do is attach the head to the body. Toadette is complete. Toadette in this special pose, she definitely couldn't stand up on her own, so I glued her to this translucent bingo chip. Now we can add her to the Power Up Clay collection, right next to Captain Toad.
Yay!
Let me know who I should make next in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.